As a general rule, you do want to run everything in a business through a CPA or a qualified accountant and or an attorney. The reason you do that is so that the contract, if he had only had an attorney look at that contract before he invested $50,000, chances are he wouldn't have lost all of that money. So the long story short is we don't create, this is what the whole idea of getting a customer is that we, think about Apple or our iPhone. Can you imagine like when the first computer came out, the thing looked like a typewriter on wood. I mean, the thing wouldn't even move. And now we have like smartphones that are this thin that can like literally send messages to, stars and the Google, star maps or something, and you can tell which star system you're under, like seriously, we can do that now. But yeah, it's a pretty cool app. But the thing is, can you imagine when it started out, if they never had sales and marketing, beta test at that level? So we have like iOS 9 now or 10 coming out, and we didn't have a market that's ready and prepared to move with us. That's what happened with the video cassette industry. They were not keeping up with this, the Blu-rays and Netflix and all the other things that were going on. These physical locations with these tapes that wouldn't work. If they had invested in the stocks of, moving like right now, what's going on in the marketplace is 3D technologies coming out. 3D technologies, this is for all businesses in entertainment. Get involved with 3D technology and understand where the industry is going in the future. The reason is that in about maybe 5 or 10 years, everything that we currently have, the way we watch movies, our flat screens, are going to become antiquated. Especially technology, and entertainment, we have to keep up with where things are going. And so that's really important to think about our customers and when we do that. And if you can understand these, product creation and have a connection, I like to call it, engineers call it a feedback loop. I call it a biofeedback. Bio means life and a feedback means, everybody knows what feedback is. It's not criticism, but it allows us to open ourselves. But because we sometimes have these fears of, someone saying something to us, they're really upfront, honest, and very direct, we want to shut down from them. I would like to say that we should not, because the people that criticize us and that are critics are actually trying to point us in the right direction. If we stop and pay attention to what they're really saying, chances are that feedback loop or that biofeedback loop will provide data that will allow us to build a better program, a better product, a better machine, a better whatever it is. And it's called a beta testing model and a beta testing phase. When we're in that beta testing phase, chances are the product is not perfect. Chances are it's not going to function optimally. Chances are the prices are going to be really, really low. It might be 25% of its regular price. But that's why you would want to get in on a beta testing model so that you are part of that community that is creating something amazing for the rest of the community. Just like we had our very first, I'm sure, maybe 747 with the Wright brothers. Can you imagine they stopped innovation there? We'd still be taking, I don't know how many days to go around the world. Anyways, that's enough with, technology. But when we're thinking customer, everyone thinks money, 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 money. And it drives me crazy because as an accountant, I've accounted for billions and billions and billions and trillions. And I've accounted for so much money that for me, money is actually computations on a spreadsheet and ratios and statistics and probabilities and possibilities and projections and forecasts. These are accountants would love these videos, but maybe the accounting firms would love the high-level consulting knowledge that I have to provide because it'll allow our accounting and CPA firms to be able to take their businesses to the next level in providing consultations and other services that we provide as accountants to our market, to where the AICPA, I'm reading a lot about the AICPA code that I'm totally passionate about. So the AICPA is moving our AICPA code and standards to what they're calling moving it to the market-based accounting. I see that, that would be phenomenal if the AICPA could connect with sales and marketing, and then they already have that done for them. So one of the main reasons I decided to do this new video series and put my heart and my work out there on the internet and be open to biofeedback is because I got really frustrated and pretty upset at things that I had to go through as an executive. The things that would happen, and it's not anyone's personal or individual fault or my manager's fault or our partner's fault or my company's fault, but as an employee, when I worked as an executive, we have extremely strict codes in the, and reporting that's due for our shareholders, our stockholders, our capital investors, and or the banks. And because of that, we have time constraints. The time constraints, which is, called timeliness in accounting, the timeliness of financial reporting back to the market creates, for example, we create quarterly financial reports. And because of those, or, most of us understand, we have to get our taxes done on April 15th, and it's a highly stressful time for a lot of us. So what winds up happening during that, time as a professional, it doesn't matter what industry you're in, there's a crunch time. We have year end, and your business or industry will have, cyclical time. And when I talk about busy season, so we call it busy season. Busy season is basically when, we have to get our, Social Security, Medicare, we've got to get 1099s out, we have to get all these tax forms, and every person in business has to comply with those rules. So instead of having a Merry Christmas, a lot of time Merry Christmas means you get Christmas Day off or a couple of days, and you're actually working at home trying to finish your work, and your kids are missing Christmas presents because you're working, instead of getting 2 or 3 weeks off or whatever it is, you're working overtime. And so that actually frustrated me a lot. The other thing I saw is a lot of my colleagues, and because of that timeliness of the reporting of financial data, it creates a tremendous amount of mental and emotional pressure. So the reason that I'm, explaining that is that when we have a marketing or a market-based accounting system, we can look at the just-in-time inventory system, or we can look at periodic inventory versus perpetual inventory. If there was a magic way that, for example, SAP, Oracle, the companies that create databases for accounting software, if they move technology to have real-time accounting data flow to create an easier time for the financial industry, and or allow for amended returns without the stiff penalties. For example, there are filing penalties with the IRS, up to 25% on payroll taxes when one is missed and they're due quarterly. There's stiff penalties. Or if we can look at, instead of the government penalizing businesses, maybe starting to understand the structure of business and working with it to create a collaboration between market-based accounting, financial reporting, and tax compliance. These three go hand in hand. So what's really critical and important is that that's really why so many people are stressed out, because, for example, interest is due, loans are due, and there's so much of the accounting background that needs to be understood to make that successful. To prevent that problem, we as accountants recommend, like I said, for us to have a capital possible backing if need be as a last resort for the third or fourth C that I'm covering. So there's cash, there's our customers and cash, and then there's credit, and then there's capital. Those are my 4 C's. If you understand these 4 C's, chances are you are not going to be going into your job Monday morning panicking to make a sale and to keep your business afloat. If you're in that position, it's really difficult to get out of it and save that business. Just having a strategy for 6, 9 months or a year, having a business plan in place, a marketing plan in place, will allow you you to not get into that problem.